Hi, everybody, and welcome to another series of Take the Leap. And today I have with me Paul Higgins. So just to recap, in this series called Take the Leap, I talk people who have taken the courage to take a leap to find work that adapts to their life. So they found a way to do what they love from the comfort of their own home. And so today I'm welcoming Paul Higgins. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Lynn. Great to be here.
You too. And so I'm going to read a little bit about Paul out because he's just an amazing, rescuer of corporate escapees as well as an entrepreneur. So Paul Higgins is a community owner, podcaster, and tech evangelist. He worked at Coca Cola for over 26 years before deciding to take the leap. He has rich business experience from working in corporate as well as his own startups. Paul's main business is actually helping corporate escapees. He has mentored hundreds of former employees to become successful entrepreneurs and to achieve freedom. He has achieved all of this while living with PKD, which stands for polycystic kidney disease. Paul's best friend donated him a kidney in February 2019, and they are both doing well. While not managing his community and health, Paul loves to spend time with his teenage children and play sports. Paul has an infectious personality and is always giving first. Once again, welcome, Paul.
Right, thanks, Lynn. A lovely introduction.
No worries. So Paul, just take me back to your corporate job. Tell me more about how it was like working Coca-Cola and why was it not good enough for you to stay?
Yeah, look, it was a brilliant company. When I joined, my father worked there and they said, you'd never get a job there. And then they got desperate and long story short, I started and it was great. It was some highly intelligent people, great customers, and it was always at the forefront of what I thought industries were. So I looked to go somewhere else, but to be honest, I loved it that much. I stayed, got promotions very quickly. I was one of the youngest sales managers ever in the country, in the company, I should say. Then I looked after a major national customer in Australia at a very young age. So it's just great opportunities. I got to travel around the world. I got to work with great customers and also develop a lot. I was big into self-development. They were always training you, always stretching you. So it was great, but the company sort of changed as the society changed around sugar effectively. So I remember when we used to sponsor all the sports, and then a couple of years ago there was actually a cricket that was sponsored by the anti-sugar campaign. I thought, wow, like how far the needle turned, and I could see that. And the global Coke company, makes most of its money out of Coke. And I know it's a choice, but having a kidney disease, which 30% of people on dialysis because of diabetes, and one of the biggest factors of that is diet and sugar. I just felt like I was a little bit working for the devil, and I wasn't proud. And I could also see that the business itself wasn't ready to tackle the challenges that were coming its way. So that combined with my health, I left in 2011 and haven't been happier since.
So why did you not choose another job instead of starting your own business?
So my key goal was, what I really want in my life, and then get a career to fit that. So what I really wanted is to be healthy. So I had to be able to work from home. I had to be able to, go to hospital, be able to be on dialysis, have a transplant, all whilst I worked. So I think that narrowed a lot of jobs down. Corporate are very good to help you, but it's never quite the same as running your own business. And the other thing is my family. I'd spent so much time away from my kids. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be here when they got home from school. I wanted to be here if they were sick, So effectively, I came up with my non-negotiables, and then I invented a career to suit that.
So were you thinking about starting a business for a while, or was it like quite, fast decision at that time that you had that health problem?
No, I took 10 years to become an overnight success in my business. So look, about 10 years. I used to go on a golf trip every year with my friends.
Yeah.
I basically said, I will not be in corporate. And no one believed me because, my dad worked there, my wife, I actually met my wife there. So she was there and they said, look, every time you basically cut, you bleed blood. Coke, I should say. So they thought I was so ingrained, but I'm like, no, I'm going to leave. And I just never got to the point of, exactly what I want to do. And then when the health basically pushed me over the edge, and I thought, you know what, it doesn't really matter if it's not the perfect thing. I'm just going to go out do something and then I'll pivot from there. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, especially with that. I mean, it's easier to leave a job when you hate it and but whereas in your case, Coke was good for you. Like they were so good, treat you well. I mean, I've had friends who worked in Coke and they have said that they're really good company. So when it's actually good, it's like, you don't want to go, and that's what stops. So do you think that is one of the reasons why some people are still stuck in their job while they know that their heart is telling them to quit and to start a business?
I think there's many reasons, but I think that's definitely one. I think the other thing is, what to do. So often I just help people sort of work out that. I think the other one is the fear. Like, in corporate, yes, it's high pressure, etc., but it's a team environment. So it's not direct pressure. When you're on your own, it's only you. So you've got to be fully accountable. You've got to learn to have very different skills to what you had, because I worked with a lot of small businesses, nearly as a consultant through Coke, which was great, but the skills that I needed to be successful in my own business were very different to the ones that got me to success in corporate. And I think the other one is lifestyle. Like if you've got a lifestyle that you're very accustomed to with a very nice salary, it's hard to make changes. And I remember the first hotel I stayed in post-Coke, I was used to, 5-star, all the trimmings. And then I'm in a little place in Sydney, Australia. And it was effectively, it turned out, unfortunately, I think it was a brothel. Like the hotel was, and I've taken a video, I could touch the shower, the toilet and my bed all with standing in the same space. And it was about $60 a night. And I thought, and so I really started and changed my lifestyle from that. Bought buses, all the things.
Yes.
But not everyone's comfortable to do that.
Yes. But basically your lifestyle and what you wanted was more important than this carrot that they're, producing for you. Okay. So talking about, can you give me some of the reasons why people that you've come across that actually did quit their job? Like what is the reasons for doing that, taking that leap?
Look, I think there's a few. So one is that they've unfortunately had a redundancy. Now, in some cases, that's a great thing. I know a lot of people are sitting in corporate at the moment just waiting for that redundancy to come. But I think redundancy is normally one thing. And then, they get a little bit bitter as to, why me sometimes. But I think, being proactive and you can't change that. But moving forward, I think is really important. The other one is for health. So, there's a lot of people out there that have got some form of condition, whether it's mental or physical. I think often, it's just, too much. It's, an event happens in their life and they're like, I can't go back. Or, a family member passes or something like that.
Yes.
And I think the third thing is that, they have done all the hard work and they wake up in a hotel room, the other side of the world, and just think, I just can't do this anymore. So I think that's the third one. And linked to all of those, I think, is the real driver, which is normally family. I think a lot of people just want to spend more time with their teenagers. They don't want to be like their father. Like my father was a great dad, but he worked incredible hours and, he was out entertaining 5 nights a week. I was always home with my brother. Like, he wasn't at all the events, and he was unique because he wasn't a big drinker back then, but back in those days they were big drinkers, and it was very different. Whereas I think now people don't want to be like their parents in that way, and they actually want to be there more for their children. So have you just seen a lot more people in your area that are looking for help in this thing? Because I've noticed it myself. I mean, when I started 10 years ago working from home, and this whole thing was quite rare, and now it's a lot more almost trendy. I feel like people are looking up to what I get to do now. Yeah, look, definitely. So in 2011, everyone thought I was crazy, especially my parents, but all my friends, they all said, oh, that's fantastic, that's great. And all thinking what has he done? Now, some of those people, because of those circumstances, are now coming to me and saying, hey, I want to know more about what you're doing. So I get a lot of that. And also the people that are liking and commenting on my posts on LinkedIn, I can see that a lot of them are in corporate, and they've, and it might have been someone that I've met 10 years ago, but all of a sudden they start following me more, and I know, okay, they're getting ready to make that move. Yeah, exactly. That's so good. And so, talking about your health, usually when people are going through health problems, they usually slow down, or they usually, I've seen you and you're complete opposite. You're I'm working harder and I'm going to sit in my hospital bed and still working. So tell me more about what your health condition's all about, and then how, what gives you that motivation and strength to still push on with all that? Yeah, look, so I've got, as you said at the start, I've got polycystic kidney disease, and the simplest way is, a kidney's normally a tennis ball. Mine, because of cysts, is more like a football. So they're about 3 to 4 kilos, and effectively the kidney function stops. So, I went from 18, I knew about the disease, to, in my sort of mid 40s, it was, down to 5% function. And 5% function effectively means all the toxins in your body can't be released, and they basically sit mainly in your brain. So, I did slow down considerably, but I kept thinking I was working at the normal pace. So, and people say, is it nature or nurture? I don't know. Am I an A-type personality anyway without the disease, or is it because of the condition I'm more tenacious? I really don't know, but one of the downsides of coming out so well is that I just can't stop thinking. And, I've got to actually really practice what I preach and reduce my work hours, because also the steroids that I take mean that I can't sleep. I've got insomnia and I'm always thinking. So I track the time, and I get all my clients to track their time and where they spend it.
Yes.
And at the moment, I'm working too many hours. So I've got to practice what I preach. So now I'm having a nap every lunchtime. I'm making sure that I've got to cut off at night. And I'm really starting to reconnect, because it's easy to be selfish. And I suppose in a way, in hospital, I could work all the time because my family weren't there. But now I'm back in the family environment. I've got to remember what my higher purpose is, and not get caught up in work. Yeah.
So what is your mission in life, Paul?
Yeah, so my mission is to help two people. So my mission is to help corporate escapees to live the dream life. So, they can have their cake and eat it. They can retain their savings. They can get some great passive income, but they can also really, the most important thing is do things they've always wanted. Take their kids to South Africa, play a sport that they've never been able to play, actually do something, and for me, I support the Purple House, which is a great charity for Indigenous people on dialysis. So that's what I give my time to. So I think, that's definitely one thing. And then the other one is I'm testing to see if I can do the exact same model, but for people with transplants for kidney and heart. So I've witnessed a lot of people that sort of left their career, got out, now they're really mentally great, but from a physical point of view, the kidney's great, but they're lost. They're bored, they're unfortunately depressed, because they're like, what do I do now? I've got no purpose in life. I've got no meaning. I can't go back to work in corporate, so I'm sort of lost. So what I want to do is set it up so that if 3 or 5 years out that you're going to have that, why don't we set up a business that you can run, so when you get out of hospital, you've got some meaning and some purpose, and you can actually give back. So I'm testing that concept, but basically, the two are linked, but just two slightly different pivots.
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I feel the pain of the people, because I was a corporate escapee as well. And so, is this the mission that really drives you, that makes you just keep thinking because you're trying to almost solve a problem in the universe? Yeah,
definitely. I want to give people an option, so that like Amatul and Coca Cola was a great company, but there was certain meetings I'd sit in that I thought, this is just this is not living to my values. I'd actually read my values every morning. I still do a daily reflection, and then I'd go and live something different, or I'd see someone else live it and I never called it out. And that used to make me very uncomfortable. Whereas now, I can basically look in that daily reflection each day and say, hey, that's exactly the person I'm living, and all of that stress and all of that angst is disappeared. And I want other people to experience that as well, because it's not easy. I won't say it's easy running your own business, but if you get the right mentorship and you follow the right plan, it's hugely liberating. And I wouldn't go back to corporate. Actually, I got offered a massive salary recently to go back to corporate, and my friend couldn't understand why I said no. But I said, look, it wouldn't matter how much money, I wouldn't go back to that environment. And people listening to this, may love it and they may choose to stay, and that's completely fine. But if you're thinking that, that knot in the stomach is there every Monday when you go to work, there are some great alternatives.
Yeah. And just curious, if you did have a company that said, I'll pay you this large amount of money, but you still get to work from home, and we're flexible, would you still do that, or would you still be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, no, I'd still be an entrepreneur. And walking into a party and saying, I help people with, live their dreams, or I help people with chronic disease live their dreams, is so much better than, walking in and saying, I work for, a large soft drink company, the largest soft drink company in the world. So I don't want to lose that feeling. Yeah,
I agree. And I think it comes down to your mission in life. I guess both me and you, we want to help people. And if we had just one good job for ourselves, then we feel like we can't really help others. But it's when you run your own business is when you can do a lot more. You can help a lot more people. So that's the path that we've chosen. So, we both also agree that entrepreneurship is really difficult. Like, like looking back, I don't want to go through what I went through the past 10 years either. So what would you say that the quality that you would need to really succeed as a business owner? Because I would recommend, I don't recommend entrepreneurship for everybody.
Yes.
And so I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I think the first thing is defining entrepreneurship. So when I first left, I wanted to, create the next unicorn. And I had a brilliant startup coach out of the Silicon Valley. He exited for a massive amount. He was only 29 years old, very impressive guy. And he basically said, look, this is what having a unicorn will mean to your life, right? And it wasn't great, to be honest. And I said, okay, I don't want to do that. So that was the first thing. I became rational as to what it is. If I run $1 million business from home, annual business, and get to do everything I want with my family, that's all I want. So first, be really practical around what you want to achieve. Yep. Then I think the next thing is, that tenacity, and you will have so many setbacks, and sometimes it's during a day. You'll have a great call and then the next one's not, and it's hard not to take it personal because it's your baby, right? So you think people are making a decision about you, they're not. They're making a decision, are you the best person to take them from where they are to where they want to be in the easiest path? And if you're not, then that's okay. You just go to the next person. So tenacity, accepting rejection, those things I think are really critical traits. And in employees, I look for three things. One is they've got to be proactive. Two is they've got to have an attention to detail. And three, they've got to be curious. So that's what I look for people that work for me, as well as the skills that I talked about as an individual corporate escapee.
So if you got a chance to start your business all over again tomorrow, what would you do differently?
Yeah, so look, I'm just about to launch a book that effectively spells that out. But the first thing I do is realize that it's going to take double the time, and I'm going to earn half as much. So that's the first thing. Like, I set myself up with my wife terribly and really couldn't move the goalposts once I'd done that. The second is I would make sure that I set exactly how much cash I'm going to give my partner each month. So I'd set a very simple goal. And I think that's really important because, you'll have lots of bad days, and the bad days, can take from the fact that, look, I'm contributing to the household. So I think that's the second. And then the third thing is about a mentor. So, find a community, find a mentor. Don't think you've got to do it all yourself. You've been so successful in corporate that, that's a great skill. But if you overplay that in a completely new world, it can take you a lot longer. It took me 5 years. And what I really want to do is help people get there in two. So they're sort of the key advice. And then just quickly, the 5 drivers that are in the upcoming book. One is personal productivity. Your time is everything. So how do you use that wisely? Second, really identify your ideal client and really niche down. Third is get the right business model. Don't swap time for money. And there's certain business models that work better than others. And make sure you're pricing right. Everyone tends to underprice. The fourth is sales focus. No one can sell your business other than you. So you've got to make sure that you're spending enough time, like 30% of your time selling. And you've got to have the right skills and the mindset to do it. And lastly, build a team up. I call it the +1 model. So, and I know outsourcing angels definitely help with this, but, have what you do. So my core 4 are client, sales, marketing, and research. So I've got to spend 80% of my time there, and everything else I let go of. And you've got to get either experts. We've got over 100 experts that are vetted, and also, which Outsource Angel is one of those. And we've also got other resources that you can get expertise in. Don't set up your website. Don't do your Facebook ads. Don't try to do everything on LinkedIn by yourself. It's just not the smartest way to play. And ultimately, time is the most important thing, and effectively our rate. And to get those right, you need to condense that and do it quicker. So they're the key things I look for.
Yeah, no, I love it. You covered everything. Yeah. So basically, with the new book that's coming out, that's going to teach people. So can you tell me a little bit more what else that you could do? So if someone's listening now and they're like, okay, help me, what's my next step with you? What would that be?
Yeah, so look, I did, so first thing I would do is 3 months. So I did 3 months where I told them 3 months I was going to leave, and make sure that you build up a war chest. You're going to spend about 50 50,000 as a general rule to set up the business. So you need to be prepared for that. And you need to really think that, look, I might not get a salary for the next 12 months to 2 years. So you need to have that conversation, get prepared for that. And then, follow me on LinkedIn. I do a lot of posts that are very specific to corporate escapees. I've got a podcast called Corporate Escapees. So you can get some, hear people's stories and their journeys through that. And also, you can go to our website where we've got some great resources. But, we've gone through it. So now I'm into my 9th year of, I call it the highway. So I was on the highway, but took so many side streets.
Yeah.
On that highway. So
I feel you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to help you stay on the highway to get to your dream quicker than if you did it alone.
Yeah, if I could turn back time, I would definitely be paying for mentors a lot earlier than what I did. Try to save money, but you actually end up losing so much money and time at the end. Just on that note about being more prepared, since you've spoken to a lot of corporate escapees, how have their relationship been with their partners in terms of how supportive have they been? Have there been a breakup in the relationship because of this new decision you've made? Yeah, can you share a little bit about the effects on the family or relationship?
Yeah, so I think I've interviewed about 115 people now, and I haven't had anyone break up. So everyone's still together, which is great.
Good. Yeah.
And I think everyone is very emotional when I ask the question, what's if their partner's listening right now, what would you say about the support they've given you? And I think it's overwhelming love and support. And I think it's really important. You don't go in it alone, you go in as a family.
Yeah.
So when my kids said, Dad, everyone else is going overseas, and I said, well, this year we can't afford to go overseas for these reasons. Setting all of that up before it's actually the time, I think is really wise. And making sure that you're setting the goals up, knowing my wife currently works in corporate, doesn't love it, but I've given her a window of how long she needs to do that to support the family. And then once, I get stable, which I am now, then health and business, now it's my turn to turn my attention to her. So having those sort of discussions, I think is really important because it is a family that goes through this.
Yeah.
You're going to do the hard work, but the ripple effect impacts the whole family unit.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I mean, so worst case, if you did talk to your partner and they're like, no, you have to stay in a job, what would you say to that if someone said, their partner's not supportive of it?
Ooh, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. I really don't know the answer to that. I think if it got to that, I would go to a counsellor, to be honest, and get an independent party to help bridge that gap. I wouldn't try to do it myself.
You would come into a relationship sort of podcast then.
Yeah, correct. But
well,
I think, the other quick thing is my relationship as a parent, my relationship as a husband has just been so much better. And I remember in November, I basically nearly passed with removal of one of the kidneys. It went quite poorly. And I woke up and my family were there and I thought, you know what, I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I don't care about the money, the financial trimmings. I am a much better person to these people that I care most about now than I ever would have if I had stayed in corporate. So, if you want to have that feeling, and I've got tingles going up me now, if you want to have that feeling, I recommend you, find a way.
I know how it feels. I still sort of pinch myself when, yesterday, I didn't know that my daughter had an Easter hat parade. So it was just a last minute thing, and it was in the middle of the day. And I said, she goes, "Can you come?" So I was able to come. And then when I'm done with that, I came back and worked, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for this. And it's still surprises me after almost 10 years. So thank you so much, Paul, for your time today. I could sit here and talk to you all day. Yeah, just before we go, how can people connect with you?
LinkedIn. So it's Paul Higgins 555. But if you go to Build Live Give as a company, you'll see me there.
Sure.
We've got a YouTube channel called Build Live Give. So a lot of great content is there. And then the other thing is you can just go to blgmeeting.com and you can book a call with me and I'll find out where you are, where you want to head and see if I can help.
Awesome. We'll definitely put all those links in the description of this video. Thank you so much, Paul, for your time. And we'll catch up soon.
Brilliant. Thanks, Lynn.
Bye.
Bye.